All right, thanks for joining us. I am Rob Goyen. I am president of Houston Area Trail Runners and race director of Brazos Bend and the Brazos Bend 50. So we're here today with Mark Gehringer. How are you doing, Mark?
Doing great.
Good, good. We're here to do a part of our series that we're doing the before and after. We're chronicling, nice word, chronicling the journey of how someone becomes a trail runner, how someone starts the process of running ultras, and then ultimately how someone becomes competitive in regard to that. So thanks for joining us today, Mark.
My pleasure.
Yeah. So do us a favor. Tell me a little bit about where you started running, how you started running, no matter if it was that at childhood or even up until today.
You know, I've been a runner since I can remember being little. I mean, I remember second grade, we're in a gym class and having to race around the cones, and the guy was just in front of me. He tripped in a gopher hole, so I won. You know, that kind of thing. But I ran through high school. Thought about running in college. Passed on that opportunity. But just kind of ran some 5Ks, whatnot. Ran my first marathon about 10 years ago. Then ran maybe 4 or 5 marathons since then. And then 2 years ago, kind of found it. I was looking for something outside of running on pavement all the time. I've always been a nature guy, so it kind of dovetailed real well with the trail running.
Yeah. So you said about 2 years ago, you decided to kind of take a change of pace, get off the roads, try to find something new. In regards, you obviously are in Houston, not necessarily known for trail running. Obviously, I mean, a lot of that's changing with people understanding we have a lot of trails, especially here in Katy. But tell us how you went about in your search. Was it easy? Was it hard? And what happened from that point?
Well, yeah, you know, I started just searching, and you're right, everything that I kept coming up with on Google was mountain running and, you know, big tall trees and this kind of stuff. And in Houston, that's not typical. Right?
Yeah.
But I did found the Trail Runners group. It had just started. Thought, who are these jokers? You know, you go check them out. And found out that, you know, at Memorial Park, the 3-mile loop that I've been running for all this time, just across the street was this whole, you know, forest full of trails, and running in. It was great. You know,
Yeah.
It was great to find it.
Yeah, it's definitely obviously with Mark and I knowing the trails, and it's definitely what the park considers an oasis. We're in kind of the concrete jungle here, and we're here in the suburbs, but here in Houston, and there's this gem that is across the street from what's known as the Memorial Park Loop, and then obviously once you get inside, then kind of the world opens up and you actually get to experience the trail running. So once you entered the world of trail running, obviously I knew Mark then, and we started running together, and you jumped in, and then where do you start on the the level of your mind? Where do you start to transition from, and why would you start to transition from, okay, I've run marathons, now I'm gonna step up and do something more and get into trail running? How does that go through your mind?
You know, it was just a thing that kind of happened. I'd run several marathons, and I thought, you know, I'm not getting any faster, and, you know, quite frankly, I didn't have the time to really focus on speed training. I didn't like that portion. I like just putting the shoes on and going.
Mm-hmm.
You know, get a nice, easy pace and just kind of just relax and chill, and that's what I like to do. So I thought, well, instead of going faster, trying to focus on running marathons faster, we run longer. You know?
Sure.
So getting into the trails, and, you know, anything over 26 miles is considered an ultra, so I want to get into that.
Right.
Start doing some of those things.
And you started, that was when, like May, June of last year, or was it a little bit earlier than that? So
Yeah, it was probably April, probably about this time last year. You know,
Right.
Joined the group, and because I found out about the Captain Carl races, and that was even before the group, I found out about the Captain Carl and had my eyes on doing one of those, you know, night races and doing an ultra in that.
Right.
And so that got me going and kind of gave me a goal to shoot for and
Right.
figure out what I'm getting into here.
And then me knowing you personally, as you started to progress trail running, and we talk openly about you getting into it, then, you know, you go from marathon, you skip what would be considered, you know, the first ultra you could go to, which probably might be the easiest, the 50K in the light in the sun, makes it easy.
Yeah.
But you skip all that.
Yeah.
You choose to go into, you know, Pedernales Falls, which is one of into Revel Ranch, which is one of the, you know, the nicest place that Captain Carl's offers. This is the last one of the season, and we had a very big group there. But you choose to go into a race that has some significant elevation. in regards to hill country. That's all at night, so different beasts. Tell us a little bit about, your kind of the mental approach getting into that race. And tell us how that race went for
I was pretty nervous, standing there, the sun was still up, you could kind of see the trail just going off into the hill country, which was beautiful. It's a nice topography out there. But once we started, I said, this is my race. I'm not racing anybody else. It's just my thing. Just kind of started trucking along. Saw a great sunset. I actually stopped on the trail, and there's two guys that right behind me, and I said, better not miss this. So I stopped and just took it. They kept going. They passed me. Yeah. But I took that in. I said, this is pretty. I want to be done running by the time it comes back up. So, but just got into my groove and just running. You kind of get. It's very. You're on your own in the middle of nowhere, especially when the night falls and you're dark and all you have is your headlamp, and you're looking down at the trail, and there's not much around you as far as other people, and it was just found a lot of peace in that, a lot of peace and just quiet. And that's really why, like I said, why I got into running and why I like to run. It's my stress relief. That's what I do. And so during that race, it was just kind of keep going. It was a 3 loops, and the first one I was pumped, feeling real good. Second one kind of started feeling a little bit, but I knew that on that 3rd lap is when I was going to reach that ultra distance. I was going to pass the 26, and so I was climbing that mountain, that hill for the 3rd time. Looked at my watch, it said 26.3, and I was like, I'm an ultra runner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm looking around, there's nobody around. I was like, I wish I had a cell phone so I could, call someone and tell them. But I got to the next aid station, and I'm all pumped up. I'm like, yeah, ultra runner. They're like, yeah, okay, just here, take your
You got to finish, right?
Keep moving. You got to get back. Get back to the finish line. So, but that was exciting. After that point, I was just running, and I just knew that just keep trucking, Mark. You're going to make it. And that 3rd lap was quite a bit longer than the first 2, but it was just exciting to know that I did it. Across that line. And, by that time, most people had gone to bed, gone to sleep. But hey, I was there.
Yeah.
Rob was there.
Yeah.
He welcomed me in. And it was just an accomplishment. To do that first true ultra.
Yeah, that's awesome. Especially do it at a great park. Do it at night, which is a little bit different than than most people might do it, but equally important and awesome race that Brad Quinn and Captain Cross series does. So that's August of last year, and then obviously from that point you're constantly training, if not training for anything. But tell me a little bit about how a week goes for Mark. I mean, tell me how you obviously you have kids, you have a wife, you have a job, you're someone who has all those things like most of us do. Tell us how you kind of working around your family so that it all makes sense, how it balances.
Right. I've tried different things. If it's running in the evening or trying to fit it in at lunchtime, and with my work schedule, that's pretty hard to do consistently. So I've really just defaulted to having to get up early. Get up and start running around 5 in the morning. Try to get an hour and a half in. Luckily, there's a guy across the street that I've coerced into meeting me twice a week out there, so I know somebody's waiting for me. So it's easier to get out of bed knowing someone's waiting. But yeah, I'll get my gear ready and so it's just sitting there right by the sink. Just get up and put it on, and usually about a half mile into the run, I wake up.
Yeah, I follow the motions till you get there.
Yeah, you just kind of know it, and then you realize, wow, I got up and I'm doing it. So that felt good. But it's difficult. It really is. You got obviously things at work you have to do, but you got to spend time with your family. And you got to spend time with your wife in the evenings. So that's kind of why I stopped doing the evening things. The kids would go to bed, and we would just sit and talk or watch movies or TV or just do our thing. But so the running really, it's important to me, but it's not as important to my family and work, obviously. So I had to put that kind of, if you're going to do it, you got to get up early.
Yeah, absolutely. So, in regards to keeping balance, as I know, and that's what we're letting people know, is you decided with 3 other guys of the Houston area trail runners to decide to go and face Cactus Rose. So Cactus Rose, for those of you guys that don't know, is at Hill Country State National Park. It's where Bandera is, but they offer a 4x100 relay, and you went and did that. Tell me a little bit about your experience running the first leg, being part of a relay team, and part of that experience.
Being part of a relay team is great. That's what I did in high school. I ran the mile relay, did 400 meters, and having that team, knowing that no matter what it feels like, there's somebody waiting for you to go. You know, they're going to take that baton next, and so that's what kept me going through that's tough terrain out there. You know, and leading up to it, all I heard was Cactus Rose is tough. You know, there's things that poke you, things come out and grab you.
Yeah.
You know, and so I definitely wanted to be part of that race, and you know, and quite honestly, I didn't want to be the guy waiting around to run. I wanted to be first. You know, I wanted to hit that starting line and go and just experience it right off the bat. You know.
Yeah.
Plus, there was a little bit of early morning. It was dark, so I got to go back to running in the dark again, which I got used to.
Yeah.
But no, it was, you know, great teammates. You know, those guys they ran hard. You know, watching them come in and they're just like, here, go. You know, they had given it all. You could tell.
Yeah.
So it was a fun deal. It took us just over 24 hours, and it was a good race.
Yeah, it was, and I was there. It was a lot of fun. Mark brought his RV and kind of it was a huge event, you know, to be able to have, and every one of those guys that ran that race really did give it their all. And some of those guys had never even been in stuff like that, so it's definitely a great team event. So, you know, this was this past October, and since then, tell me a little bit about what you've done in regards to racing or training anything different.
Yeah. Well, I ran this a month ago, my first 50K. Figured I better go back and check that box, you know. But on New Year's Eve, I told myself, you know, what's my goals for next year, you know. And I really wanted to, you know, take it to the next level and keep on this trail running stuff. So like I said, plan to do the 50K. So okay, next one's a 50 mile, and Brazos Bend came on the scene, so plan to do the 50 mile next month. And then, you know, if that goes well, and then I want to run the Captain Carl races in the summertime. Yeah. Just because it's hot during the daytime, so you run at night a little bit better. And in the fall, I want to do 100 miles. You know, I want to do that. And, you know, I'm even toying with trying to run 50 at Cactus.
Yeah.
Thinking about that, and just kind of want to take it to that next level. Hopefully, by this time next year, I'll be 100-mile belt buckle wearer. You know?
Yeah. There you go. So being that you've run Pioneer, staying consistent, and then you kind of look at Brazos Bend, and obviously Brazos Bend is almost like an introductory trail marathoner's paradise. It's a very flat race. It's going to go very well for obviously people that are used to running, you know, flat kind of speeds, or you're a quick guy as well. So leading up to the race, is there anything that you change to get ready for it mentally, or is it just, hey, this has worked before, let's just keep doing it, it's not broke?
Yeah, you know, I just kind of keep with the system that I've got, and that's just, you know, making sure that your hydration's right, you know, that nutrition's set up, and then just one leg at a time, you know, you just go at it. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. You know, I'm going to bring the RV again, probably bring the family. I'll be able to watch me, and it's going to be fun crossing that line and hugging my kids and my wife and stuff.
Yeah.
Being part of the Hater family, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So in regards to, I mean, you know, what you're saying, or what I'm hearing from you is that, you know, you're looking forward to crossing the 50-mile threshold. A lot of this, you know, comes as you seeing as the next step up. Having your family there obviously means a lot. So, you know, in regards to looking at the race specifically, any goals that you have in mind that are specific or set, or any goals that you just think in your mind while you're running?
You know, main thing is to finish, you know, and finish healthy, being able to run a couple days after that, you know, not blowing out, you know, some muscle or something. But no, you know, I have, you know, I'm hoping to do well time-wise.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm not out there, you know, trying to race some time or just pick a time. But just finish it. You know, 50 miles is a big deal. When people ask, you know, what's your next race, Mark? You kind of joke, and I said, I'm doing 50 miles. And I said, what? You know, you know, when I throw out the, you know, 50K or 60K, they never really couldn't understand how far that is. But when you say 50 miles, they know.
Right.
They know what 50 miles is.
They know what 50 miles is. That's a distinct.
So
that brings up an interesting point. Obviously, you know, you're probably like a lot of people where you work in an environment where you obviously don't work with a lot of ultra runners. You may have people that run, and you may have people that don't run. But tell me a little bit about, you know, just because you said it, tell me a little bit about how that feels to tell people, you know, and speak that into an existence, that you're going to go and run 50 miles, and tell me kind of what they give back to you.
Well, they're pretty shocked, pretty impressed. You know, it kind of gives me a name for myself of what I do outside of work. You know, what my interests are. You know, some guys are really big into hunting and fishing. Some guys are into music, but you know, my deal is running. You know, that's what I like to do. So, and to do it in a manner that not a whole lot of people do.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, people think I'm crazy, but then I said, thank you. You know?
Yeah.
I want to be passionate about something, you know.
Sure.
And when someone says, hey, you're crazy for wanting to run 50, I said, you know, what else is there? You know, why not be crazy?
Yeah.
You know, why not do something that people think is crazy, but, you know, being smart about it. You know,
Yeah.
You're training right, and during the race, your nutrition's correct, you know. You're doing the best you can to complete that goal.
Sure, absolutely. And in regards to trail running, obviously, you know, when you decide to commit yourself to 50 miles and you're telling people you're doing all the work behind the scenes, how do you think that translates over to, you know, your real life, or how does that translate into how you view life? I mean, tell me if you feel like that helps you overcome obstacles because you've beaten other things, or tell me how you think that transition's over.
Well, you know, I've always been a goal-oriented person. So when I put that goal out there, you know, I work towards it. I got a plan. You know, I figure out how the best way to attack that goal or that problem. You know, it kind of translates into my everyday life. You know, I'm at work or you know something around the house. You got to fix it. You know, you got to do something. You kind of come up with a plan and you persevere and you knock it out and you do it. So I guess that's kind of how it relates.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, great. Well, you know, this is going to be the before Mark Gehringer going after his first 50 mile at Brazos Bend 50. So we'll see Mark there April 26th, and wish you the best of luck, Mark. Obviously, I can't wait to hand you the medal, and then we'll do a follow up afterwards and see how you feel afterwards. So,
That'll be great.
all right, thanks a lot, Mark.
Thank you.
Yeah.